Welcome everyone, welcome one, welcome all to another beautiful sunny afternoon here at Phillip Island. This is Phillip Island, as I said, where the breezes are stiff and the seagulls are thicker than a front rower's skull and the stakes are as high as Lukey Heights on a windy Tuesday. This place is pure theatre. Turn one, it'll pull your eyebrows off if you're not ready. The Southern Loop, well, that's where you find out who's a surgeon and who's a butcher. And don't get me started on Siberia, colder than a referee's stare after you've argued the call. Then we charge up to Lukey Heights, blind, absolutely blind, and you're turning in on nothing but faith, hope, and maybe a quiet prayer to the motorsport gods. Well, MG, that's where bravery goes to meet its maker. And these Gen3s are absolutely snorting. It is unbelievable stuff. Don't you worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a beautiful place to go racing. The island is humming, the Gen3s are roaring, and the wind is doing its best to blow someone straight into Bass Strait. So strap in, folks, because if Phillip Island doesn't get you, the tyres will. And this is Sensational TV. This is Aussie Sim Racing for round 7 of the championship. And welcome to another broadcast. I am Zach O'Reilly, and joining me in the commentary box is one other, the man who is an absolute beast on the bicycle himself, the bicycle cycling beast himself, Peter Clark. Welcome, and good to have you in the commentary box here tonight, my friend.
Thank you. We've just come off a thrilling big bangers race, and what more can we ask for this fine evening? To modify it up a bit, go a bit more to the modern day spec and commentate some Gen 3 beasts around this circuit, which we kind of wish they were competing at in the real world, but at least we've got it here in the virtual world.
We do, and what a better place there to go than Phillip Island. This is your format for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It is Gen 3 Supercars for Aussie Sim Racing. It's a qualifying session right now. It's starting with a 10-minute slash around it. No more 2-lap flyer private sessions. We've opened it up for this one. So there's 10 minutes of hardcore qualifying coming your way. Then a race 1 is a 30-minute, followed by a qualifying session 2, which is a full reverse grid, but a 3-lapper race. And that will determine the grid for race 2, which is also a 30-minute as well. They've got 17 incident points here tonight before they get the black flag, and then they've only got under half a tank of fuel, in fact, to use the fuel in their own strategy. So a bit of strategical genius coming our way here, and they've also got an extra set of tyres to make up that disadvantage. So they will be happy out there, the races tonight. They will be as happy as a dog with a tin dick, in fact, for sure. So we would love to see that, but I'm telling you right now, this is where it is. We're into qualifying here, and I'm going to have to get that source changed over there for you, because at the moment Stephen Varga is opening his account with a 37.566 to open his opening laps here versus the next one, which is Kobe Marshall on track, which is a 38.368. And we are starting to get ourselves into the rhythm here, Peter. This is going to be a barnstormer of a qualifying session.
It absolutely is. We're expecting a nice close field here this time around, and you can see that Varga is still sitting at the top of the session with that 37.5, and he has put in quite the run, and at the moment it's 3 Chevys at the top before we see our first Mustang.
It is, and you can see at this stage it looks very, very nice indeed, because when you've got a little bit of tight time tower coming your way, you know that means that their boys are starting to get on strong here. And what better place to not do it than where Jacob Smith just ended up on the infield there for that one. So he's going to have to go back to the drawing board here for another session, ready and rocking and rolling. But I'll tell you, this is on like Donkey Kong here. Benny Mead, the magician we like to call him, the wizard, in fact, out there setting his lap with a 41.771. In fact, is a long way off this man in front. The oven has come through in Devon Stove. Goodness me, with a 33.843. He's just been pipped even more so by Sam Cullen as well for a P1. A 33.638 is the deficit here, ladies and gentlemen. This is awesome stuff. Love to see it. Love to see these guys going at it. And they've all got at least 7 minutes left to go in this session. I'll get that up in a second just so you can see how much time's left to go. As Benny Mead comes across the line into 9th place, because he was in 8th until this man got on his gallop. Sensational TV's own Lachlan Grant, who, Peter, has just had some good news come into his box.
He has. What a better way to celebrate a inaugural championship. He has just come back from Sandown. He's hopped onto the private jet, flew immediately down to Phillip Island. With how close proximity it all is, I'm sure a private jet will get him down here in about 15 minutes. But he is now a big bangers champion. He overcame a very difficult race 1 to finish in P2 for race 2 to seal the deal and become a champion, and now he's going to be jumping it forward in the time capsule and is now in some modern machinery and is looking like he's got half decent pace, currently sitting inside the top 10, but he still finds himself a second away from the fastest time.
He does indeed, but still, only coming from a Gen 3 supercar out of a big banger is always a little bit hairy, in fact, and you can just see the difference between two game engines as well. You've got iRacing versus Assetto Corsa. It just on that inside curve there, he lost a little bit of time there to Lachlan Grant, but it pulled him back in. So he was up there as well. So he needs to get on the gallop with a 34.791. Stuart Patterson, though, has just gone bang and said, you know what, I'm going to have a good crack here and get myself as close to the top 5 as I can. I've put myself inside 4th here with a 34.237. I've got another 4 tenths to make up before I get to the oven in front of me. But these guys now need to start to get in their gallop on, because we're coming to that point of the timer where these 10-minute sessions start to get a little bit dancing, and we're in the last 5 minutes here at the moment. And I'm telling you, this is cracking racing between these two guys in Stuart Patterson and the oven, because they're line astern on the track at the moment and they're both in the same car. So two teammates here, both going at it, both in different ones, as Fitzy's just come through, and Blake, he's come straight through, no livery, no worries. He's just got the old standard one, doesn't need sponsors here, Pete, and he's just set a top 4 time with a 33.918. Cracker.
He has. That's a great time. It's still half a second away from the fastest, but around a circuit like this, I was kind of expecting we could see a few close times, but that lap by Cullen and Varga looks it's going to be very hard for him to top with the very little remaining time we've got left in this session. It's 2 tenths of a second further back to find a 3rd position, but riding on board now with Craig Matthews. He's heading towards the line, running it up to the wall, shortest distance to that line there, and that was a 1 minute 40, so that was actually an outlap for him, unless he had a hairy mistake around here, and no mistake is a small mistake around a circuit as fast flowing as Phillip Island is. Top 3, Cullen, Varga and Stove, and we'll continue riding on board with this lap from Craig Matthews.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. I just want to see how this man goes about his craft and gets himself into turns 1, 2 and 3. And he's come out the other side looking very, very nice indeed. We're 7 minutes into this session. Don't know why it's not coming up at the top of the tower there, but we've only got a couple minutes left in this one. And it is the man out in front at the moment, Sam Cullen, who is leading the charge. A 33.638 versus a 33.682 between himself and his championship compatriot in Varga also. So a very, very nice job here so far. He's about to go across the line here now to set a lap time of his own. A 33.771 is only 500, so 800, sorry, off his own pace there, but that will be him out of it because he's done. Everyone else is done as well. This is cracking stuff from Stuart Patterson, though. Can he get himself out there? Logan Howard has got a orange and black flag to his name, so he will be up there. Tomei and Matthews are setting the time towers alight. There goes Tomei into 7th place as well. A very, very nice showing indeed for him, so he'll be happy with that one to start the 30-minute coming our way. Oh boy, this is just awesome. We love to see this. We love to see exactly what these guys are doing on track and off track, and Patterson's still going around. The timing tower itself at the moment, he's just doing funny buggers here, but what can this man in Lachlan Grant do? This is his final lap of qualifying here, so he's got to get the gallop on straight away at the moment. 8 minutes and 21 seconds gone in this session out of 10, so he's going to be able to either set a time now or set a time on the next lap. We'll see what this man can do, but he's just come out of a championship win in the big bangers back to 1987, and he was really at the top of his game. Gray Ward just going green in the sectors, bumps himself up into 15th. Another sensational TV zone there as well, representing himself inside the top 15. Welcome Lachlan Grant to his first sector was a yellow, green, and then his second was a yellow. As he comes across the line now, no, not enough for him. A 34.709 is his best, but he only did a 35.4 on that one, and that is going to serve him at the end of this qualifying session. We've still got Tomei out on the field. 9 minutes and 4 gone in this one, and we'll see what this guy can do, because 34.477 at the moment is in 7th place and doing a great job here, Pete.
He absolutely is. The 7th position is nothing too far down the field. It's only 6 cars ahead of you. That is very much a Will Buxton comment there. But as he crosses the line, is it an improvement? No, it is not. Well, it is a slight improvement, but it is only a 34.4 for himself, still 0.2 of a second away from Howard to get himself up into that top 6, and we've now finally got a timer on the stream.
Oh my goodness, it just wanted to pop itself up there. I was clicking the button like mad there in SDK. Nothing was happening. And finally just popped itself up with the last dying moments of it. Tomei's the only one left to go. Townend is not on a flyer. He's doing yellows everywhere at the moment. It's already coming down to 28 seconds and he's still not around the final turn. So will this help him though? No, it won't, because that is qualifying done. One and run. And here are your results from it if it wants to pop up. For goodness gracious me. How are we going here? This is just incredible. Let's see if we can get that up for the grid. Here it is. No, that's not it. That's definitely not it. What is going on here in the fair dinkum department? Boy, oh boy, this is just killing me here at the moment. I don't know what is going on.
What a grid we would have if it was like that, though.
If it was like that, that'd be amazing. But we'll get that off and we'll go to the grid here and see if that works up. No, it doesn't. It's not going to do it. Boy, oh boy. In the fair dinkum department, ladies and gentlemen, don't you just love a little bit of tomfoolery? But in fact, it is the grid. It's actually done it. Jansen is there. I don't think the server's doing its correct thing here at the moment, because that doesn't look completely dead accurate. Has the man himself, Wade Georgeson, done a mystery job here on the opening race? Because they're all gridding up and they're all in the completely wrong direction. It's a full reverse grid here from qualifying. Sam Cullen's at the back. Varga's there in that place there as well. So this is interesting. We've got to get through it because Jansen, Clark, Shelton, Cumming don't even know how they came there, so to speak. Summerall, Cook, Maitland, Hutchins, and Wade Georgeson round out the top 8 with Tannen and Ash Rogers for the top 10. That's caught me by surprise. I'll tell you what, this full reverse grid. Jade Andrews and Gray Ward are the next ones on the overall section of this one. Let's see if we can get this up as well for the next one. Nope, it's not even going to do that. Let's go to that. There we go. Matthews, Brooks, Mead, Connor, Smith, Marshall inside the top 18. Grant, Tomei, Howard, Patterson, everyone else ready to rock and roll in that one as well. It's going to be interesting with Fitzy and the Oven coming through next. And then the pole sitter, Sam Cullen, will be dead set last and lining up next to his man, Stephen Varga. This could be on here, Benny. This is going to be an absolute belter of a race by the looks of it.
Oh, it absolutely is. You got Sam Cullen starting right at the back. The confidence that he had to end qualifying that early. Let's see if the qualifying confidence carries on into this race as we're ready to get going for a full grid reverse start. Yeah, let's go with that. As we go down to the first corner for Phillip Island here, it's race 1 of the Gen 3 Supercars, and it's a breezy start for Jansen here, and he's going to go into the first corner as the leader. Clark slots into second, Rogers is into third, and so it's been so far a pretty clean race. We've got one car out on the grass in the background. We'll figure out who that one is in a short time, but at the moment it's Jansen who has been able to get himself all the way out into the lead, and look at the gap he's already pulled.
He has pulled a beautiful one here. This is cracking stuff. He's already out to a good old-fashioned time, and this is lovely, lovely stuff indeed. Let's go and get the gaps up there for you. 0.7 of a second, in fact, is the man right there. So this is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Can he get that job done? We will find out, but at the moment, it's looking nicely there for Jansen versus Rogers. It's a bit of toing and froing back in the rear of the field as well. You can see them all just having a good old tussle. Mead is there too. Look at this, 6 or 7 cars, all line astern, too wide here. That is Devon Stove. The Oven is coming on strong here. He's heading himself up for about 250 degrees here tonight, fan force. And look at this for onboard stuff. Look at the battling. Oh, no. Oh, no. There goes Andrews. He's around. He's been punted off as Dan Andrews' love child, just like he got punted out of Parliament there. And he's going to fall back at a rate of knots. We'll get a replay of that. But look at the racing. The Stove is up underneath. Gets himself up into P14. Now he's got Townend in front of him. The old Village End is there too. But in the background, look at Mead and Fitz all having a crack at each other. He's got past him there. His Oven on Townend. Lovely up the inside. Beautiful job. Racing a plenty here. They're going hammer and tong to the final corner of Phillip Island. Around we go. I'm telling you, this is getting spicy as ever down the back of the field. Look at Benny Mead trying to get himself back up into it as well. He's right there. He's on the outside as they come through the blind crest. Now he's darted to the inside. He's at the background of this. He's looking at all these cars start to stream forward and go through it. Oh, checkups there from everyone. Boy, oh boy, in the fair dinkum department, this is on incredible racing. Side by side, no door bumping, no tail wagging, no nothing. Holy mackerel, this is fantastic stuff, Pete.
It is. I genuinely don't know where to look. I'm looking at the timing towers. I'm working out who's been able to work their way through the field the best so far. I'm keeping an eye on the track, and I'm just so lost at where I'm going to be looking. One thing I can spot, though, is Cullen from the back of the grid all the way up to the top 10 now. So he's had an absolute thrilling opening lap and a bit to get himself up that far. Up 16 positions. What a drive he has been putting in so far, and absolutely creaming the rest of the field as he will now start to look towards the back of Connor. I would imagine the next overtaking point will be down into MG. He'll have to get Lukey Heights all right and get a good run. It looks like he may have a good run. There's a car off on the grass, and who is that? That is Clark tumbling down the field, and as I said, down the inside he's going to be trying to go, but there's a bit of a checkup going on in front of him, and he's not able to take advantage.
No, he isn't. He did go off the track as well and go for it. Oh, there's all carnage here. That was a massive disaster there for sure. You can see in the background that Cumming just lost a place there or two, so they're all just starting to come together or go for it. Look at that, just cornering each other out of this. Holy cow, Bunga. This is fantastic racing. 5 cars down the front straightaway here, all within half a tenth of each other. This is going to end in disaster. I can't believe they're making their way through here. This is beautiful racing. See how they go down the inside. There goes Cullen down the outside, and he's gone. He's lost all the places, and there goes a car as well into him. That was Patterson too. They came together, and boy, oh boy, disaster there for Cullen, starting at the back of the grid. All that hard work, he just managed to get himself in, has absolutely come to nothing, and he's back in 17th place. There, oh, look at this. This is huge pile up. Oh, my goodness me. What has happened here? I can't get to it quick enough. There's 5 cars, 6 cars all involved here. We are going to have to see a replay of that. That was an absolute shitstorm there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look and see what happened on the replay. That is huge there from Benny Mead. He's already been turned around. So there's something happened here between all of this. Let's see if we can catch it on board. If we can, let's go to another replay. This is what happened. They've all got checked up into each other. Bang, bang, whack, whack. Cummings come out the other side of that somehow. I don't know how, but he's somehow got that one finished and made himself back into P8. Holy, P12, sorry. That is incredible stuff, but a huge moment. Let's have a look at what happened to Logan Howard here in this meantime. This is where it all brewed from. So they're all fighting into the nail and checked up. Wacko. There it was. That was the incident that absolutely got him sent, and poor old Logan Howard. Look at the suspension on that car. His front wheel's not even touching the ground. And that is a disaster there from everyone in Sundry. Holy mackerel indeed. I don't know. I just don't know what to do there. That's just mental. In fact, this is just ridiculous here at the moment, Benny. Crikeys.
Yeah, it started with just a small overlap, and it was a bit comical, really. It just kept getting more and more out of hand to the point we had about 4 or 5 cars involved. We've got a few of them in the pit lane, obviously, with the amount of damage. We saw front bars. We saw pretty much every bit of a vehicle flying around as they go through here, turn 3, and a big person who was able to benefit from that was Cullen. We saw him drop down to 17th. 2 corners later, he's back up into 11th. So say what you will about the incident, but I'm sure Cullen would be absolutely thrilled to see something like that happening in front of him, because he has been able to make up 6 of those 7 positions he lost at turn 1.
Yeah, he is, and look at him. He's got a clean car. In fact, just a little bit of a bump on the quarter panel and the door, but otherwise he's came out way better than all of those boyos in front of him that just absolutely yeeted themselves into oblivion. But speaking of oblivion, we've got 3 or 4 battles we can look at, but we've got to look at this one because Varga's going a long way around the outside here. Oh my goodness, over Lukey Heights into Honda we go, and he just came out the other side. Fair enough indeed, but that was beautiful racing from Kobe Marshall. His bumpers are all over the place, and that Camaro is just wagging the tail left and right. Holy cowabunga, this is fantastic. Just a check on the brake there from Marshall too. So they're a little bit dicey here in their slide fighting their way through this one. It's a good old-fashioned tussle here. They've changed the format as well. It's 40 minutes or bloody whatever it is, but that means more racing for us, and we need to see this one because look, around the outside goes Varga into turn one. This is going to take balls of steel here, and I think at the moment the only thing that kept himself from going off was that steel in the old knackers department there. Full meat, sausage, you name it, bangers and mash, just kept him on there, and it's still Rogers out in the lead. In fact, this man out in front, 9 places from where he started is the erection, and I'm telling you right now, he could be giving the old Rogering to Mrs. Rogers at the end of the night if he keeps this momentum up.
Yeah, it is. Well, with everything that's been going on, we've kind of not really been watching Varga because he's one of the other drivers who was right at the back of the field with the reverse entire grid, and he's now made himself up into the top 3. So he's been a very silent goer so far in this race, and he's now got himself on the tail of this top 3 battle with Rogers leading the way ahead of Marshall. Varga there in the Camaro sitting 3rd. He's only 0.2 of a second behind, and he may be lining up another move through into MG, through Lukey Heights. It doesn't look like he's had the run that he's had previously to try and send a dive bomb. He'll look to the outside once again with Marshall going defensive. Is he going to be able to try and get the run of Marshall right up to the back of Rogers? We're nearly reading the parts number there on the front bar of that Camaro, and now don't tell me they're going to go side by side through the final corner. I really thought that he was about to try and send it down the inside, but he thinks better of it.
Yeah, he does, and look at that. This is the onboard from the rear bumper camera of Kobe Marshall looking at Varga, just hounding him here like a big horny cat at the middle of the night, and they are unbelievable, these two. They're going at a hammer and tong. In fact, it's nearly at the front of the racetrack as well because Rogers has just given up the old blue pill, and he's given up the lead to Marshall, but he's going to try and fight it here between himself. Varga, oh, no, they've come together as well. Oh, goodness me, they've both come back on the circuit, luckily, but that was nearly a huge implication there for Varga versus Direction, and I'm telling you now, that would have been a full soft on coming on there for the Rogers and household. Goodness me, back down to 30 goes, survives, but that's going to draw in this man, the oven, back into it. Connor and Fitz also really close. There's battles all the way up and down the grid. We don't know where to look. You can see the timing tower just full orange there at the moment. Clark's made a move on coming there in 14th and 13th, but these guys are now going hammer and tong at each other. Look at this. This is up the front bumper here of the oven. He's going for it. He's got 250 degrees ready to go, and Rogers is right there with him. He's going for this sort of move. He's putting the pressure on. He's giving the old hurry up here because he's got an absolute freight train behind him of cars, and you can see them just starting to peter himself into it. Connor is literally just in front of the Fitz. He's right there behind him, so you can only just see these two, and a bit wide there as well for the oven versus that, and this is cracking stuff. Is he going to be able to defend? Oh my goodness me, 4 or 5 cars trying to defend over one position, and a bit of Morse code too, just slapped into the rear bumper there. Goodness me, this is all on Donkey Kong here. Fitz, Stove, Connor, all involved in this one, and Rogers the cork in the bottle here, and there goes a pit maneuver there for Connor. He's in, he's out, he's already called the quits here for the 10-minute mark into this race. That seems to be early there. Hasn't got a flag next to his name though, so I'm not too sure what is going on, but the racing still continues here. We're gonna have to look here because Logan Howard did crash. We're going to have to check this out and see what happened to the big man because he was all in this battle. Oh, this is from earlier, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness, and going back to where we don't need to see. But that was the incident. That was disaster. And this battling here is absolutely going on and on and on and on and on. This is fantastic stuff, and the lead is very close too there.
Yeah, we should add on just one more and on because that is just how intense this is all getting, that we did have a 3-car breakaway at the lead. They started battling, and oh no, that's an issue there for Varga. A little bit of contact under the brakes, and he's had to take to the escape road, the long lap penalty for the MotoGP bike.
Oh,
and there's
no.
more issues. Oh no, that's Rogers and Fitz. They've gone into the fence on the exit of Honda, and that has been terrible for them, and they've both lost a massive handful of positions. Fitz will get himself back into 9th position. I think Rogers has finally got himself back onto the road, but that's down in 10th position and 6 seconds, nearly 7 seconds down from where this guy was. And so let's take a look. I reckon it was just a case of interlocked wheels on the exit. There is not much real estate for them to be battling over, and eventually things boil over.
They do boil over. This is what happened. It was just there. Oh, oversteer there for Rogers, and just tank slapped himself into the side of Fitz. That's unfortunate there. No no misdemeanor, no harm done. It's just a bit of the loud pedal too soon, and that is what happened to the erection, just falling down the grid now at a rate of knots. Varga's into the pits though, and so is Tomei, and so is that man Fitzy on the screen too. So a little bit of guessing game coming on here to see what these boys are doing, because I tell you what, Kobe Marshall's going long into this one in comparison to the pit lane. He's inherited the lead, 1.9 seconds over the oven in fact, and he's just blinking in and out as he always does on the iRacing. I'm not sure what goes on in that guy's internet connection department, but he's the only car that really blinks on and off throughout the whole race. But Varga's coming out of the pits, Tomei's coming out of the pits, Clark is there as well as Fitzy as well. So we're all involved in this one. A bit of swapping of changing of positions, but this is just on like Donkey Kong here for everyone in sundry. This is Lachlan Grant's story of the night so far. He's just making his way into turn 4 into the hairpin, and he's just trying to get himself back onto the arse end of Sam Cullen. A quick customer himself is Cullen, and he's just made his way back through the field from starting dead last up 22 places. He's that man in front of Lachlan Grant, who's also made up 14 places from the start. This is spicy, this little battle. It
really is, and just the carnage that has ensued so far in this race. I knew there was going to be a lot happening with the full reverse grid, but this has absolutely blown my expectations out of the park with how much action there is in this race so far, and better yet, we've still got so much more of it coming our way. It's a 1.2 second lead ahead at the front of the field between Marshall and Stove. Grant, though, after coming over from the Big Bangers series, very different cars, still sitting very nicely in 5th and is on the back of Cullen, who put it on pole earlier in qualifying. You can see there the wounded Rogers, a fair bit of damage there to the rear bar. The front, though, we know these Gen 3 cars have a very sturdy front bar. Front bar looks spick and span, though, so not too bad for the tradie livery car, but it is going to be Craig Matthews who takes that position away from Patterson.
Yeah, it will be
Rogers.
No, Rogers. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But the man who's taking positions away from everyone is this man, Stephen Varga. He is pitted from 2nd place, so he's got to make his way and charge his way through the field once again. And you can see he's got a beautiful run. He's got nearly a double suck if he wants to from Connor and Cook Maitland in front of him too. And look at this, he's pushing each other down the front straightaway on board. That is incredible commitment there. Surely the outside run there for Cook Maitland just gave up the position, and he did. But this is what Varga does best. He can overtake cleanly, doesn't need to barge his way through the racetrack at all. Just gets himself power down out the other side, and look at that closing speed. Just so much more traction, but he's lost it on the exit there. You gain a bit, you lose a bit there at turn 2 here at Phillip Island. It's a little bit of a dicey sort of situation to be in, but he's doing a great job there. He's going to send up the inside, but full defense mode there. Blocked him off from Connor, and he's punted him around. There goes Connor too. Oh, Varga, that is absolutely dead set. Not what he wanted to do or anticipated out of that one. Caught on the stream as well, if you don't mind. That will be disaster for the big man. He won't be happy about that one. Connor's been turned around, and we just saw that. We don't need a replay for that nonsense, but it's happened. And Connor, unfortunately, back down to 15th, and it looks like Varga here is just giving up a position or two to May as well if he wants to, but he's not. He just thought about it for half a second, but he can just see that it's all over. Let's just keep going, and I'm going to keep racing. There's nothing I can do about that one, and the stewards will say something about that later. Is Shelton, Cullen, and Patterson all venture through the pit lane again. So it's just an absolute onslaught of strategies coming our way. I don't know how it's working, but it's certainly spicing up the old racing here in the fair dinkum department, Pete.
It really is. As now Varga is all over the back of Maitland here in the Aussie-inspired car, and it is going to be a pretty good run for him out of the final corner as they now head down the straight. A little bit of a side draft will help him, and he's going to be on the preferred racing line. So will the other car pull out of it? And it looks like he will, and they won't go through their side-by-side. It's always very daring to try and go side-by-side, but he was so off-put by going shallow that he's now got, who's that behind him? Tomei, right behind him in the kamikaze car. And he is going to be all over the back of this Camaro, try and see if he can't make a move as they head down into Honda. They who have to navigate turn 3 to perfection with a slight overlap. He backs out of it, and will that ruin the momentum for a dive? He looks to the inside, but it looks like there's another car chiming in as well. Thought they were going to go 3 wide, and in the end, is he going to be able to make that position gained? Yes, he can. And so does. He actually loses 2 positions there, does the Aussie car.
He does too, and that was unfortunate there for Cook Maitland. He lost the 2 places there just by running a bit wide, and here comes Cullen through, just swipes him. See you later. I'm out. I'm gone. I'm straight through on the inside of you, son. And he does that job. Into 9th place does Sam Cullen go. Tell you what, Kobe Marshall has not pitted yet, doing 35.2, so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see where these guys can go in the pace department for him. The last lap was a 2:02 for Sam Cullen as he came out of the pits, so he's now fired up those tyres and will be ready to go. Grant's in the pits, the Oven's in the pits as well. So they're also serving their mandatory pit stop too as we go along. And it's Sam Cullen now all in a great position. He could be netting himself a P6 here at the moment if he gets in front. There goes all the boys in front. So Grant's coming out of the pits at the moment. He's going to start to file his way back. There goes Varga. And at the moment you'll see right there flashes those 3 drivers and Cullen too. So Lachlan Grant comes out in 8th, nearly 9th place because Cook Maitland will get that job done. So it's race on again here for the Big Bangers champion in Lachlan Grant, but he's served that pit stop now, still 10 places up from where he started, but he will be back net into, I would say, at least 5th place, and Fitzy and Tomei have just come together, I think, or is that Tomei just doing weird things on the timing tower? No, it's not. This is racing on here. Look at Blake Fitz. He's just hammering past Georgeson. The erection there as well in Jordo. This is the man who was in the Big Bangers too, but decided to pull the pin early and go for this, and he's slapped himself off. Oh my goodness me, what are you doing, Giorgio? Get yourself back onto it, son. That was so close to a disaster there. He nearly absolutely rear brake locked himself into an oblivion of contact. Somehow gets himself back on the circuit and will just single file his way back out once he lets Connor go past him. Unfortunately, that looks like just a little bit of a late braking maneuver gone wrong there for the big man, so he will be ruining the day, as they say in that one, for that braking maneuver. But this man, Sam Cullen, is back on again, Pete. He's really charging through the field.
He really is, and I am sure there may be a brown stripe in his racing suit after that one. He would have seen a yellow Mustang come flying across his windshield under the brakes. They definitely caught him off guard, because that could have even been in his little bit of a blind spot, depending how far alongside he was. And that definitely would have put him off for the corner, maybe 2 corners prior as well. But he's all over the back of Fitz now in the unliveried Camaro. Is he going to be able to get enough of a slipstream to put a move down into turn 1? If he can't get it down into turn 1, he can always try through Southern Loop. He looks to the inside to try and put him off. He can't do it. Fitz is wise to it. Is he going to be able to line up anything through Southern Loop? No, he can't. Fitz is wise to it once again. So his next opportunity, if he wants to try and take it, would be going into Honda, but he'll have to make sure he gets a good run out of turn 3, and that's going to help him a lot. Fitz with a load of wheel spin, a bit of opposite lock for good measure, and that is going to slow down the run as they head into the braking zone.
Oh, look at this. This could be on for Cullen around the outside. He's going to trailer park Girl him. Oh, they come together too. Oh, bump and run there. They were both so hard on the brakes. I think that was full pull there from Fitzy. He was locked up and slid into the side of Cullen, who just had to go along his merry way and just join the unfortunate contact there between the side and front quarter panels that sent Cullen back out into the bunda. Survives it though for P5, but it's now 1.6 seconds between the two as our leader, Kobe Marshall, does come into the pits for his stop, so he's going to serve that right now, and that could be a big story in it, because Shelton is coming at a rate of knots. He is rounding the final 2 corners of Phillip Island, and he's just managing to get himself back into it. This guy is a quick customer. Got Brody Kostecki's number on it. Only needs Coca-Cola and Goodyear to go racing. That's about all he needs. Kobe Marshall still sitting there. In fact, he's moving now, but this is going to be P1 for Shelton here. Net, if he comes out right in front of that man who's just about to flash past your screen. There he is in the 2 red cars are going at it. Hammer and Tom, Camaro versus Mustang. And I'm telling you now, it is Shelton in the lead of this race. A 34.0 was his last time around. What was Stephen Vargas? His was a 34.7. So a big advantage here for Shelton, who's just set the pace alight the oven. And I think that is Tomei. No, it was Lachlan Grant as well. They're all going at it. The oven's just a bit undercooked here, and Lachlan Grant's going to come back in at a rate of knots. Let's just quickly check to see how that all started to go with it. Devon Stove himself went off the track. Let's see how that happened for him. Oh, geez, contact there between himself, and I think that was that was Lachlan Grant too. So very ambitious stuff from the both of them. Here comes Lachlan Grant, cracking driving from the both of them to get it back on the circuit. But back we go to the live racing. That was a bit spicy there, Pete.
It was, and it's still going on, because down the inside goes Stove, and he's going to try and get that position back. It was a little bit of a tap there, and was that Grant there with the tank slapper in the background? He's fallen, and he's lost the position to Patterson. how quickly has he been able to gather it up? It looks like he's been able to done a pretty good job, but that was a loss of position due to that mistake. Got on the loud pedal a bit too early, had to correct an oversteer mistake there, and unfortunately in the correction, it threw it into the grass and lost a heap of time. But I don't think Tomei is going to let this one go a bit too easy, especially with Stove cranking it sideways on the exits like that. He's going to be taking note of that and knowing that it's going to be the exit of corners where he can try and come back to Stove, but he's pulled quite the gap, so I reckon it may be job pretty much done.
Yeah, it could be. It's a see you later, alligator. Now it's 8 tenths up the road or thereabouts between Tomei and Stove. That battle has just fizzled out to nothing in the blink of an eye, but it's just starting to get that little bit where you know the cars are just getting in the rhythm. We're just over halfway in this race, and you reckon by now these boys know how these cars handle. But we could see some very, very ambitious overtakes and manoeuvring going our way or coming to the driver's way here for us in the commentary box, and it's great to have everyone along with us for the ride here as well. It's fantastic. We've got James Pedersen, we've got Wooly, we've got Nick, we've got Adam. We've got Gray Ward, we've got Brendan Haxter in there as well, all giving it. Dino Hanley's in there too. Great to see that Lachlan Grant's in a Mustang, says Dean Hanley, just coming out of a win in the Holden. It doesn't matter, he's unbiased. He's a great man, just loves to drive a V8 supercar or an ATCC car from back in the day. What was that in the background there? I didn't see anything.
Was that Patterson losing it?
It could have been Patterson losing it, in fact. Let's just quickly check the replay there. As I was blabbing on, I missed it. He's just half looped it and managed to save it there, Pete. That is a beautiful bit of car control. Finally locks the brakes up. No ABS in these things, so he saved it. If he was in a GT3 car, he would have been absolutely off into the bunda. No questions about it.
Oh yeah, no saving it in a GT3 car. That would have been a tyre wall rebuild for the crew at Phillip Island, with him going into the fence there. But with the limited driver aids in these cars, he was able to use all of his skill there to save it. And this is a change for the lead now with Marshall down the inside at turn 1. That is a brilliant change of position for himself. It's now Camaro's leading the way ahead of the Mustang, the retro liveried Mustang that is, of Shelton, and he'll be looking to try and stick with him because with most of the pit stops now out of the way, this is pretty much the order for the checkered flag.
This could be, yes, exactly. We'll see if they do keep their own wits about them and go for it, because Kobe Marshall has been setting the pace very, very nicely, as has Shelton too. So we've been seeing these two trade lap times, left, right and centre. But while this one has gone on, Grey Water's just gone bang. Come on, Lachlan Grant. He says, yep, absolutely, with the $5 super chat. We're all cheering for him here in 8th place. Here's Lachlan Grant, but we're going to have to see here because Cook Maitland has come a guts up himself here at some stage. It's just popped up on the screen. What has happened between these two? Oh my goodness me. Oh, geez Louise, Connor's just absolutely slapped him around. And that was horrible there from Jay Connor. Caught that one live as we went. And this is beautiful, beautiful stuff. Cullen also went off the track too. So we'll see what happened to him. Massive rear locking style Wade Georgeson, and just managed to keep that one together. Is this guy still in 5th place? Is Sam Cullen, but far out. That was another brown pants moment for the big man, and he's just trying to find himself back into that rhythm after all this. And this lead here is still only separated by 8 tenths of a second here, Pete. It's firing up there. It's firing up back down the grid here between Brooksy and Jacob Smith, so it could be on for the minor placings too.
Yeah, no position is to waste here. There's plenty of opportunity to gain any further placing here as we look at the Jim's Racing Camaro. He is trying to get himself to the back of Smith in that Mustang, but it looks like up and down the field we've got a very large range of lap times coming in at the moment. Out in front though, that gap is slightly extending, so I think we've seen the pace of Marshall, and that pace is going to be quicker than Shelton. So maybe Shelton just looking after the tyres a little bit better, trying to go for a late race charge. We'll have to see how that one plays out as we head into the final 15 minutes of this race. It feels like this race has been going on for hours. We've had that much drama, so much action going on, and better yet, we've got 15 minutes left to go of this one.
Yeah, we do, and it's been a nightmare for Jay Connor. He's on and off the circuit in the background there as well. He's just having mares left, right and centre. Let's have a look and see what happened to the big man too, because he was there and then all of a sudden he wasn't. He just went off the track and, he did come back on. Luckily there, no incident for him. Geez, it's happening for him. He's been involved in incidents left, right, and centre, up and down the grid. And this little battle here between Craig Matthews and Cook Maitland is starting to brew. So they're only within 3 or 4 tenths of each other here as they trade places and trade lap times. Again, the Aussie car is just struggling big time, and I think that is a move right now. If he can get alongside him, Matthews, and go for it. This could be Wendy Matthews' time here to start singing on the Titanic. Fantastic. Oh, that was Celine Dion, in fact. Sorry. But this is good stuff. Around the outside he goes, gets that job done. And now Benny Mead's come through. The magician has just said, thank you. I'll take P14 off you as well, Cookie. And I'll get that one further up the grid. Now I've got Matthews in front of me. Beautiful, beautiful stuff from McPherson Contractors there in the background. He's blinking in and out of existence as well as a magician, just like he is in the stage performance style there, pulling pigeons out of his hat, pulling dildos. I don't know whatever he does, but he's full on rabbit out of the hat now, and he's gone straight up the inside. Got that job done for Connor Matthews' own commiserations there. Up the road goes the magician here to Benny Mead, and it's starting to heat up here as well between the oven and Sam Cullen too.
Yeah, it really is. We're now back to the battle of Stove. Stove's in, well, he's been in the absolute thick of it so far this race. I reckon at one stage where he may have even been caught up in one of the incidents, was facing the wrong way, but he's still up 18 positions, find himself in 6th. He's on the back of Cullen, who's one of the other drivers that we've been trying to keep an eye on because he qualified on the pole, has find himself now currently exploiting the absolute track limits of this one, and it's ruined his run through Lukey Heights, and he will now lose a position down into MG to Stove, and he'll probably be pretty angry with that because that was a mistake on his own accord that has allowed Stove to head on through. He didn't really have the opportunity to try and defend too hard because he just ruined that much momentum from himself. Finds himself now down into 6th position, and Stove will now find himself in 19 positions up from where he was, and the next car on the track for him to try and chase down is going to be Fitz in 4th position.
Yeah, it is. This is a little replay here of Kobe Marshall going off the circuit and Varga just sweeping it around the outside and taking that place off Kobe Marshall. For second place now is Stephen Varga, and I'll tell you what, he was under all sorts of pressure there too, was Kobe Marshall from Fitz as well, so he's still there. The sun has started to shine once again here at Phillip Island. Bit of scattered clouds coming through, so it goes from light to dark. Looks like bloody 5 p.m. to midday here at sometimes on the circuit, and Kobe Marshall's just struggling big time here. He's got Fitz all over the back of him. Our man who was out in the lead of the race is now struggling big time on the tyres, and look at the oversteer there from him. He blinks in and out of existence. That would give Blake Fitz an absolute aneurysm, I reckon, in the cockpit, just thinking about which way he's going to try and overtake him. But the car's disappearing, so he could be there, he could be not, but it's still onwards and advancing for Kobe Marshall and the Marshall Motorsports Camaro there, really driving the wheels off this thing, and he's got a hell of an effort behind him to keep that car of Fitz's behind him for P3 here in this one. 28 minutes and 54 seconds gone in the race, and he's just struggling big time here, Kobe Marshall. You can just see the car behaviour. He's struggling for rear grip. The tyres must be hot as a dodgy Vindaloo in the background there for him, because that is not putting the power down eloquently at all. It is Shelton, though, out in the lead with Varga about 2.1 seconds behind him, who has got some clean air to navigate and go onwards and upwards onto that P1 position if he possibly can. But this little battle is starting, and the oven's just coming to the pits again. So is Cullen too. So there's a few pit stops in this one with only half tank on the board for him. This is going to spice things up here for the final minutes of this race, Pete.
Yeah, we have, and the pace loss for Kobe Marshall here is a little bit baffling, but I guess the most logical answer I can think of at the moment is, with these cars not having any driver aids, the most likelihood incident that I can think of is, you know, that there was a bit of wheel spin and he's heated up the surface carcass temperature, and that has just resulted in a massive loss of grip, because we saw him overtake for the lead of the race, and then he just drove away to over a second lead, and now finds himself struggling to hold on to this 3rd position. He's got Fitz all over the back of him, and he's also probably dwelling on the idea that he's got all of these lap cars directly in front of him to just add a bit of the pressure on.
Yeah, definitely add a bit of pressure for sure. But in the grand scheme of things, he's not shy to a bit of pressure, and he's closing in on Varga as well. Varga is nearly thinking about looking in his rear vision mirrors rather than forward here, with Marshall coming at a rate of knots as well as Fitz. So there's an angry gaggle of cars here starting to line up, 3 in the same shot, all within 3 or 4 tenths of each other now, and Varga's just struggling big time. Is he fuel saving, or is he conserving here with a bit of Lyco, so to speak? He can't be, because Shelton has not gone any slower than Varga himself, but this is getting a little bit spicy here now. You can see those two cars getting a little bit closer, ready to rock and roll. But it could be another pit stop strategy coming our way for these boys, as we see the other two. The oven came into the pits before as well. So there's still another round of pit stops, I would say, to go. But that is the actual white flag of the race. So they've gone so quick here, ladies and gentlemen, that it's all over. This is the final one. And it looks like here that Shelton could be the victor for this lap. But I'll tell you what, Fitzy and Marshall are not letting go of each other. Again, that car just disappears and appears. Holy cow, Fitzy would be absolutely in there for sure, but he just doesn't know where that car is. And every time he comes back on the track, he just absolutely swerves to the left or the right because he doesn't know where he's going to appear. Kobe Marshall, need to get him some donations in the chat for sure, because he needs another outer, and he's gone wide and full dancing on the brakes there. Is it going to be an up and under move? But I'll tell you what, he can't, because there's a car fact in the background. There goes Marshall, oversteering on exit, and there goes Fitzy into P3. Oh my goodness me! Eat your heart out, Kobe Marshall. That is an inherent lead of the lead of that podium position gone for Marshall. He won't stand on it for the next one coming our way. But boy, oh boy, have we had a race here, ladies and gentlemen. It has been so far. This man, he's got 1.7 seconds advantage to the cars behind. Is Fitzy going to be able to take over Varga here too? We'll find out very shortly. Right on board with him for the final couple of corners for this race. This is starting to heat up here at the moment. I don't think Varga just had to maybe fuel manage, and so did Sheldon for the last lap, because these boys have come at a rate of knots. But it is going to be Sheldon. He will take over this lead of the race by a storm. Got Kobe Marshall done, took over the lead, got everyone else, Varga, Fitzy, Tomei, Grant, and he's going to take the checkered flag and take the first blood tonight. Well done to Ryan Shelton. Varga and Fitzy cross the line, only be at 2 seconds behind him for a cracking little battle for third. And there comes Kobe Marshall in fourth place. He won't be happy about that one for sure. In fact, I think he's already just sent it into the pits, and he's not thinking about it here at the moment. That is a good result here for this man too. Lachlan Grant, lovely, lovely job indeed. P6 for him tonight. After 20 minutes of break, steps himself into a Gen 3, puts himself in the top 10. That is a cracking little drive.
That is a fantastic drive. You couldn't really have too many polar opposites in machinery. You've got a 450 horsepower what Commodore is he in again?
VK.
The XE. VK, that's it, yeah. He was in the VK Commodore, 450 horsepower, to a 650 horsepower Mustang. So pretty polar opposites, both rear-wheel drive, big V8s, but still, very, very good drive to be in P6. He finished ahead of Patterson, Stove, Connor, Clark, to round out the top 10. You've got Matthews, Howard, and Rogers still coming across the line, and Smith in P14.
Definitely, it's been a cracking little stanza. We've still got a couple of drivers circulating around. Jade Andrews is about to cross the line now and take P15. Wade Georgeson, what could have been for him? 16th place. He'll have to settle for. Jansen is going to round the final corner here now in that Aussie car and just somehow get himself in there too. J Jab has absolutely subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for that one. So he crosses the line here. He will be the final finisher of the race, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he will be. Jansen is just the man. But this is the race results, ladies and gentlemen. From that one, is that correct? No, it's going to go away and see you later. It is Cullen. That's qualifying. Let's go to heat one here, actually. Let's get the right one up involved if we can. Shelton took race one. And Varga, Fitz, Marshall, Tomei, Grant, Patterson, Stove, and Connor and Clark round out the top 10. Now, this heat here, ladies and gentlemen, is the good old-fashioned 3-lap full reverse grid here. And it's going to be Gray Ward who's going to take the P1. This is for qualifying for the next race. Wherever they finish in this one, it's a 3-lap sprint. And it means that they will be absolutely sprinting their way to the next heading and dimension, I would say, with Gray Ward, Hutchins, Summerall all off there. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed here, Pete.
Oh, it very much is. If we thought that first race had almost a sensory overload of action, imagine what they're going to do when the limit is only 3 laps, and this is going to set the grid for the main event. You're going to see quite a fair bit of desperation, I reckon, out there.
Yeah, I reckon we're going to see heaps of it, and we're off and racing already, ladies and gentlemen. The lights are up and away we go, and I'll tell you what, the old timing tower and SDK have given us an absolute mare, and that is a poor start there for Jansen. He's lost it. He missed the whole start completely, which means Sam Cullen has just charged his way back through the field, and he's going to take it here. This is the old 10-minute or 3-lapper, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of a sprint coming our way. And it's looking very nice here for Cullen. Hutchins there in second place, though, doing a great job. There's a bit of a gaggle of cars, though, behind him who are starting to struggle and fill the tank here and go for it. This is cracking stuff here from Grey Ward. He'll be happy with this. His commentary is not in the box tonight, so he will have to be sitting out and just focusing on the racing. And it's looking very, very nice indeed for him. It's changed from positions for Hutchins and Cook Maitland. There goes Grey Ward, though, around. Oh, no, dead set, fair dinkum for Grey Ward. Looped it out of turn 3, and he's just lost all of those positions. He'll be spewing after that one. Goodness me, they're off and racing again. There's Lachlan Grant, and nearly chopped the nose off him as well as he came back on the track. But it's still Sam Cullen out in the lead. He's going to fire away. Cook Maitland here has got the job done. But look at Benny Mead just magician his way, magic trick style, back into P4. Cracking little opening stanza. And look at the amount of oranges on that timing tower at the moment. Everyone's within 4/3 of each other. And they're just trying to single file their way through here, Pete.
They absolutely are, but single file, they did not get that memo. They have been sending the dive bombs going down into MG, and you can see a few of them have already squirted a bit of gravel all over the circuit just to add a bit to the braking zone of MG. It's already very difficult with the downhill braking zone, and that's one car that's gone off at the final corner at turn 12, and that is Georgeson, who has made a bit of a mare of it. I just caught him trying to turn in when he already had a couple of wheels on the grass, and there is definitely no grip on the grass, and he just sailed off wide. Lucky to not send it all the way into the tyre barrier and claim a DNF in this race. That will send him all the way to the back of the pack for the main event. But towards the front now, you've got me here. He's trying to get all the way back to the back of Cook Maitland here into that Australian livery car, and he is putting on a defensive masterclass here because he's been able to hold on to that third place for the opening lap, at least for now. But it looks like he could be under attack at the moment going into Honda corner, and he does hold on to it. So that defensive masterclass continues on at the moment.
Yeah, look at this, though. The magician is trying to throw all the card tricks and magical ones at him because he's right on the rear collar of him at the moment for Cook Maitland. This is beautiful stuff. Trading places up and down the field and everywhere. Look at this little gaggle of cars here too. We've got Fitzy involved in this one with Brooks next to him. Then you've got Stove behind. Then in front you've got Connor, Cook Maitland, all trying to find their way back into P3. This is fantastic stuff. No breathers from race 1 to 40-minute. They go straight into this 10-minute session here. And look at the inside run there. Oh my goodness me. Is this going to end in tears? I will find out very shortly as they come down into Lukey Heights over the top. Oh, 2x2 Noah's Ark style. They get him in there. Finally, someone comes out, grips, and comes into the single file territory. But around the outside is the oven. He's trying to go here on Fitzy. Can't get that job done. Had to stick him behind him and go for it once again to rethink his racing line and go for it. There's Kobe Marshall in the background too, trying to find his way past the old Nostratap. Sam Cullen has just sprinted away, 5 seconds in fact, in front. And this is the final lap of the race, ladies and gentlemen. This is all for grid positions for the next race coming our way. Another 30-minute coming our way. Oh no, massive implications. There goes Brooksy. He's completely gone off the field and sideways. See you later, Alligator. Jim's racing. Well, he's Jim's sandbagging at the moment. Gets himself into Jim's mowing territory as well. Back into the old sandbagging, and out the other side he comes. He'll go flying down the back of the grid, and unfortunately for him, it is not the place to be. Look at this. Everyone's blinking in and out of existence. Kobe Marshall nonetheless. Patterson, he's having a good old tussle here between himself and the Erection. So this is good stuff here between the two of them. The Erection's gone soft here because he's going to get outdone in the old studio department here. Get that job done, and up the inside. Look at Grey Ward getting turned around there, nearly there by Logan Howard as well. They're still bumping and grinding each other. This is incredible, slapping each other's doors off at the moment. Nearly Grey Ward tank slapped himself into oblivion. Fair dinkum in the old dead set department, and there he goes. He's around. He's outdone himself. He will be effing and seeing and everything to the next dimension. Will Grey Ward? He won't be happy about that because this is where he will start the race. If he gets done, he does get done by 19th. But for the old 3-lapper, it's come out to this man. Sam Cullen found himself off 3rd place on the grid. Don't know how that happens with a full reverser, but he's going to take it. That is going to be race 1 done and won for him in the consolation department, and that is where he's going to start the next one for race 2. Flashes of lights, will be very happy about that. He knows he's got a huge gap between him, and this is all still happening down the back end. Rogers has been done. That is Logan Howard who's got through, and there is Cook Maitland too for a drag race to the finish line. This could be interesting here, ladies and gentlemen, as they come across the line, it is going to be Rogers, who somehow survives by 1/10 of a second over Cook Maitland's charge back there. And Clark and Connor were also within 1/10 of a second for that one. Oh, my goodness me, Pete. I can't take a breath anymore. You got to take over.
Oh, I just can't believe what I watched. I mean, I reckon at one point we had the graphic up saying a couple of cars were already up like 10, 15 positions. So if they had recorded their POV, that would have been one view to have, just of them carving their way through that field. As the race came to an end, it was Cullen to take the win, so he'll be starting out the front for the next one ahead of Townend and Mead. And then we've seen a couple of other cars make their way through the field quite nicely, like Stove and Fitz. They've carved their way through the field quite nicely, haven't they?
They have indeed. It's been very, very nice for them as well. But this is a little warm-up for them that they're coming on to here at the moment, and we will see what is going on. I've got a little 5-minute session here for these guys to set themselves up for the next one. So we're going to take a breather here in the commentary box for about 2.5 minutes, and we'll be back here for race 2, ladies and gentlemen, and the final one of the evening here at Sensational TV. Don't you go anywhere. Go catch your breath yourselves, because we are absolutely out here for the count in the lung department for sure. We will be back here in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the exclusive distributor of Fatal Vision alcohol impairment goggles, marijuana simulation goggles, and drowsy and distracted blinking goggles. All are used to demonstrate the dangers of such impairments on the driver. Also available are driver training posters, driving handbooks, and distracted driving resources. Our simulators make the perfect training tool for drivers to experience how various impairments affect their performance. Depending on the simulator model being purchased, you will receive a range of training resources to help you to facilitate quality driver education. SDT is the...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, animals of all ages. This is sensational TV at its best with myself, Zach O'Reilly, and Peter Clark in the commentary box for tonight's proceedings. The race 2 is coming our way very, very shortly. This is just a little bit of the warm-up session to end the proceedings for all of the carnage that we just saw in the Heat 1, or consolation as they want to call it, of qualifying. And it was one man who ended up taking it by storm, and that was Sam Cullen. And he definitely showed the boys how to go racing and go cleanly, and got his way back through the field. But he's got his work cut out for him for the next one. I can give you the hot tip. We were going to be very, very excited for that as the warm-up session finishes here, Pete. This is the grid for the next race.
It certainly is. We saw Sam Cullen storm to victory in that 3-lap sprint and has set himself up beautifully for this next one, starting on the pole. And he's got Townend on the front row with him. Then Mead in third, Fitz in fourth. We saw those two drivers also carve their way through the fields, but were unable to make it to the front row. And then it is Stove and Marshall, Shelton, Smith, Grant, and Patterson rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, definitely. And with 11th place of Logan Howard and Rogers, where the next one's in 12th. Cook, Maitland, Clark, Connor round out the top 15. With Matthews, Jansen, Georgeson, Ward, and Tomei off the 20th position and the 10th row of the grid. Coming, Summerhill, Hutchins, Jade Andrews on 24th. And then rounding out that one is a dead set poor for Stephen Varga, 26th for him. And that is not the place to be, ladies and gentlemen, off the arse end of the grid, so to speak. But it is going to be this man, and it's going to be this man only. We are off and racing for the final time here tonight for the feature race. It is go, 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 and what a absolute jump there from the big man himself, Sam Cullen. He's absolutely blitzed him off the start. It is all turning up here. Look in the foreground here. Oh, Lachlan Grant's involved in this one too. That was Fitzy just sideswiping him, and they're all trying to come through and stream through here to rate of knots. Look at the aggression here from Logan Howard too, just sitting on the outside. There's Fitzy up the inside too, so he's trying to fight it over the oven. Grant's just got past him, so he's out of that one. It's still happening in the background here too. You can see at the moment Brock Clark's just getting involved in a little bit of tussling and toing and froing as well. Townend's only 6/10 away from the lead, so we've got it all happening. Kobe Marshall has got a beautiful run here. Can he get up the inside? No, he can't. On Benny Mead, the magician in front of him, but they're just starting to trade place. The magician's around and then turn, and there goes Mead as well. And I'll tell you what, I think Fitz was involved in that too, but Mead, he just disappeared and then reappeared, and the boys had no idea what was coming to him. Let's have a look and see what happened to him if we can. It didn't show up because he just blinked out of existence. So a bit of internet tomfoolery coming his way, but that's given Kobe Marshall, Sheldon, Stove a free kick of their life. Goodness me, that was something to behold, but it's happening here in the background. Look at this goggle. You can see now that Rogers is just, oh, I'm in the wrong place. This is Patterson up the inside here, trying to get the move done on Lachlan Grant, trying to do the outside roundabout move. Tank slapped himself out of it. Now he loses one place, now two, because there goes Patterson, Rogers, sorry, right behind him. Patterson and Howard nearly came a gutser too. Grant survived it, and it's all happening up and down the field here. Look at Fitzy here at the moment. He's going for it on the back end of Shelton too, Pete.
He is. He should be playing his cards at the moment because he nearly lost it all on this very corner. On the opening lap, he had it all sideways with a bit of an overlap going into the braking zone. This time around, once again, more overlap. Not as big as the moment, but this one is a bit more self-aware because last time around it was a swap across the nose of someone else, and he's just given the push to Shelton and kind of budges him out the way, and he'll get the run now as they head through turn 3. It's a flat-out corner, sometimes a little bit of a lift depending how brave you want to be, and it is going to be down the inside he goes, and he's locked all the way up. He's lost the rear, and that's going to allow Shelton on the way back through in the Mustang, and is he going to be able to hang around the outside? It's actually already got to be cleared as they now head to sub-area, and once again Fitz on the rear bar. They're trying to give him a little bit of a send him a message on the back Mustang.
Yeah, it's looking pretty racy. I'll tell you what, it's there. It's racy too up in front because at the moment the Stove is giving Chris Town and a good old hurry up. Very, very similar coloured livery schemes there between the two of them, but it's not deterring him. Look at that up the inside. That was so close there to a rear quarter panel Punterino for Townend, but by the absolute dice tones there by myself. Nearly lost all my voice. That was so close between himself and the oven. Oh, and he's given him a bump there too, so he's just sideswiped him and galloped on through. That's going to invite all these cars involved too. We've got Shelton involved. Fitzy's there too. Full angry gaggle. Shelton's got the job done, I'm pretty sure, on Townend. Townend's going to drag race his way down the front straightaway here at Phillip Island. Fitzy's got through on both of them. In fact, Fitzy's trying to take him around the outside as well. So this is cracking little racing stance. A 3 wide into turn 1 doesn't work. Nearly came a proper there from all of them. Sheldon has just got around the outside. Fitzy nearly got sideswiped in the rear end by Townend. Lachlan Grant's just sitting in the back end of this one, watching this all unfold in front of him. Potential carnage. Fitzy's got some pace here tonight, but he is the aggressor here. He is absolutely giving everyone in front of him a bit of curry, and the guys behind of him too. It's just I don't know, Shane Van Gisbergen-esque like style of driving here. Just full aggression, but fair, and he's gone for the move under brakes here. Shelton's just gone wide there too, and he's gone too wide in fact.
Oh, no.
There goes Shelton. He's lost 3 places, 4 places now. Everyone's gone past him there, and there goes turned around. In the background was Jacob Smith there too in the Fanta. Oh my goodness me, that was disaster for the big man. He's just watching the cars and the scenery go by. Maybe he can go and join the Penguin Parade while he sits there and waits.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately for him that was kind of a wait for a gap, and it looks like as we're about to cut away, he was going to jump in front of another car. But looking at a replay of what happened, it was a move down the inside, and we've actually nearly had 2 cars spin around. Ultimately, one of them was able to get around and continue on, but unfortunately for Jacob Smith, he watched the rest of the field go on by, and for him, that is a massive, massive loss of position for himself. But as we go back to this battle up the front, which now Fitz is actually driven away from, he's gapped him by a second, and Fitz, as you're saying, he's the aggressor. He's not afraid to use that front bar on his Camaro, and maybe some of the other guys may be taking notes about how they should be trying to carve their way through the field, but a little bit too much of that and you can be on the receiving end of maybe a little bit of retaliation and self-policing. So we don't want to see any of that. We want to see hard, clean, fair racing, but this is a supercar series, so use that front bar just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just nothing that the old vinyl wrappers at the end of a meeting can't fix, you know, that sort of Morse codery. Just a little bit of friction, and that equals heat, which equals the vinyl wrapping getting done. And here goes Lachlan Grant, full heat up the inside. Beautiful dive under brakes as he got the job done there. He's trying to stick a fat up the inside. He's got to be, there was a little bit of overlap there. Maybe just a brush there for poor old Townend. I don't think there was too much nefariousness involved. And there goes Fitz in front. He is completely off as well, so he's off in the foreground too. So Gonski's his Fitz out of that battle. He's going to use all that hard work that he tried to get out in front has just gone and been robbed off him. He's out. See you later. Lachlan Grant's just put himself up into 4th place by keeping it clean. In fact, let's just quickly have a look and see if we can check out what happened between Lachlan Grant and Townend. We'll go on board with Lachlan Grant here just to see what happened, because at the moment it looked like there was just a little bit of an overlap contact there. Not too sure what happened, but geez Louise, that was a good pass nonetheless. And he's, there goes Fitzy off in the inside, so he just unforced errored himself Novak Djokovic style out into the bunda, and he's found himself back in 7th. But I'll tell you what, Logan Howard is not letting Lachlan Grant go here.
No, he's not, and I reckon that incident back then was a case of what we've seen already multiple times this race, getting the throttle down a little bit too quickly. You lose the car on the rear end, and while you're trying to correct it, you make a slight bit of contact to the car alongside you, and that's Fitz already making his way through the field after making that unforced error. And who's that that's gone off? Someone else just gone off, and I reckon that may have been Shelton, because he's losing a heap of positions. So the Coca-Cola Mustang, I reckon, has gone off at turn 1 and is all the way down. We're going to take a look at it here. He's trying to go around the outside. He's on the curbing and he just can't get it turned in while the car is upset on those curbs, on the ripple strips, and he has gone out wide and lost anything that he's done. He's now down 6 positions from where he started, so net negative, not what he wants.
No, not what he wants at all. And look at the amount of rubble that's on the circuit here, just getting sprayed up by the nth degree here from all the cars and all the carnage that has happened in front and behind too from all of these drivers. That would have all been from this man on your screen at the exit of Siberia there from Fitzy. He would have just come back on the circuit and left all the rubble, but it's off the racing line, so play on, ladies and gentlemen. But he's not letting go of Lachlan Grant here. He's just edging ever so closer. Lachlan Grant just overcooking it up over the Hayshed section, and then out the other side, down to Lukey Heights we go. And you can just see that Fitzy is just a little bit more confident under brakes, just a lot more traction, got that car dialed in with the brake bias. Lovely. There's no ABS, there's no traction control, as you can see here too. Look at that full sideways Toko drift there on board with Fitzy. Just gets the absolute car singing on the slip angle. Lovely, lovely bit of recovery, but he's given up a good 2 or 3 tenths there to himself and Lachlan Grant. Luckily, that's Patterson behind him. He's still 7 or 8 tenths away. So we watch the lap times go through. Stove has done a 33.9, and these boys are all doing 35, low, high 134 sort of thing. So the battling does hurt you in the lap time, and Cullen still leading from Marshall in this one. This is fantastic stuff and beautiful, beautiful racing indeed. It's just it's a sight to see between these guys, know how to go racing and where they can. And you can see now that the advantage for Fitzy, he's a long corner driver. He can just get that car pointed in and nosed and use all the sweeping corners to his advantage, versus Lachlan Grant just being able to dart it in and point it out the other side a lot easier. And that is where the advantage and disadvantage comes from. Look at Grant on the slide there too, just full four-wheel drifting it, and that's going to hurt him because here comes Fitz. He's only 3 tenths a second away. They get out the other side, lovely. But geez, this is good stuff. This is great battling. This is what you want to see, ladies and gentlemen. Just two guys going at it hard, hammer and tong style, and still managing to keep themselves out of contact.
Yeah, through the last lap and a half, we've been really able to take a look at the car performance and the way these cars are set up and handling. So you can see with Fitzy, we've seen great mid-corner speed. He's very good under brakes. It's on the exits, though. We've been consistently seeing him on the slide, and you can see the braking performance was really good to get himself up alongside. And on the exit, as I was just saying, he's been getting a lot of the sliding going on, and he's had the best traction I've seen so far all night to get himself now ahead of Lachlan Grant going into the final corner, and that now puts him back up into 5th position. But he's still going to be, I reckon, looking through the red mist after that unforced error going into Siberian. Now he's having to make up all that ground again. Next car on track is Howard, only a second up the road. But maybe here, Lachlan Grant, he was up in P4 at one point in this race earlier on. He can try and use the pace that Fitz has got, maybe learn a little bit of what he's doing, and try and follow him through back towards the top of the field.
Yeah, but look at this man coming. This is one man who is a quick customer at any circuit. Championship leader in Stephen Varga, and he is 100% on like Donkey Kong, just ploughing his way back through the field here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff indeed. Just keeping it clean for the most part for him, just fighting his way back inside this top 10, up 19 places from where he started. He started dead last, ladies and gentlemen. So look at this guy already with 10 minutes of racing only gone, finds himself inside the top 10 in 7th place to be exact, and just giving everyone an absolute bathing as he goes through full top loader washing machine style there, and just showing how to go racing and go quickly and cleanly. The lead is still Sam Cullen's, 2.7 seconds over Kobe Marshall there. Fitzy and Lachlan Grant and Howard and well, it would be Varga, but he's not there. He'll be on them very, very shortly. Is still going on, and they're still racing hammer and tong here. You can see the three of them now, and watch another one be added to this edition for a bit of racing. Logan Howard's not used to being this far up the grid, but he's doing a great job, in fact, and just going there. And as we say that, in comes Fitzy into the pit lane already. 11 minutes into this one. He'll start his first pit stop battle. Will that give everyone else a little bit of something to think about, who was just sitting behind him or in front of him, on where to pit and how to go about it? Because those last race that we saw, the last 30-minute was a very much so 2-3 stop undercut strategy department from the rest of them. But Fitzy's just falling down the order here like a stone, into 14th now into those pits. But by the time these guys come out, it could be right back on again, and it's happening here because wrong car, because Patterson is just been done by Varga for that position. Let's have a look and see how they got that job done, if I can find it here on the old timing tower. Oh my goodness me, I can't see it here. Keep going while I find it there, Mr. Clark.
All right, no worries. Yeah, back to the strategy. With that move from Fitz, he's really the pioneer out of the top 5, top 6 cars, because everyone would now be trying to see what they can do, see what they can see for the pace from Fitz on, and see if they start coming into a window where he might be able to get them through the pit cycle, because Fitz is coming out in a little bit of clean air. He's got 2.5 seconds to Smith, who's in 17th position, and then if he's able to dispatch Smith pretty quickly, it's a further pretty much 4 seconds up the road. So, you know, Fitz is going to have plenty of clean air to try and put in some quick laps, try and see if he can't, through the pit cycle, get himself further up the field. If he's able to do that, I reckon the top 2, 3, 4, 5, pretty much to the top 10. It could be in real drama here if this strategy works out well for Fitz.
Yeah, it should do. And I think that's probably the thing to think about later on in the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, see exactly what happens there between all of them. It should be exciting. I couldn't find that pass by Varga, but I can tell you that this man in excess himself has crashed out. Is Jason Hutchins. What happened to him? Has he come over the top of the hill here and lost it himself, or is he just into the braking zone and just loop-de-doo he goes around, somehow manages to just keep it pointing in the right direction of the circuit? Poor old in excess there, not doing his best work indeed, but that's okay. It's onwards and upwards, and I'll tell you what, a casualty already has been a Grey Ward. He's out of this one, and so is Jake Connor as well. He's done 2 for the night, so we've already lost 2 here with 13 minutes gone in this race. And it's still on like Donkey Kong here between these two, because it's looking very, very nicely for Patterson. He's just started to follow Varga around in the racing line department and the braking markers and acceleration points, and he hasn't let go of him as easy as I thought. So it's still on like Donkey Kong here between these two. Cracking racing, and it's very, very nice to see that we've got a quicker guy versus a mid to quick guy as well in Patterson. He knows that that's not anything against him, but when you can follow someone of that ilk around a circuit, you start to pick things up in your brain when you're learning, and you just manage to get yourself into that mindset where it is basically, I'm going to brake exactly where he has, and if I can remember this for the next one, I'm going to be just as quick, because microseconds are absolutely vital when it comes to a big 30-minute race here, Pete.
It absolutely does, and especially when we've got the pit stops involved. And as I say that, in comes Patterson. So maybe you followed him for a couple of laps, figured out what he needs to do to get that lap time. He knows he can do the lap times because he hasn't lost any ground to him by following him. So he's going to come in and see if he can't use the pit cycle to now get himself back ahead and try this undercut here. And as more people now come through the lane, including Stove, who was well and truly up there within the top 5, this is now going to be a turning point where we see everyone start jumping into the lane so they don't lose too much track position through the pit cycles. Shelton's also in the lane. You've got Patterson in the lane. You've got, who else is in the lane? You've got Andrews in the lane down in 17th as well, and Fitz. This is what we were talking about. So he's now jumped himself back ahead of Stove, Patterson, Shelton, all the guys he was battling out before, and look at the gap he's pulled as well. He's like multiple corners ahead. He's nearly all the way down through Southern Loop, and the others are just coming out the pit lane through turn 1.
The undercut has worked. An absolute beauty here for Fitz, but will it be enough to get him to the next pit stop without any further ado of too much battling, toing and froing, which is what we saw between these guys. It costs you seconds and seconds, lap after lap. You add a second and a half nearly just per 1 or 2 car overtakes to your lap time. So when you think about the net positive that you get with an undercut, it's great, but you got to think about the next one where you come out in traffic and go for it. Again, that's a massive, massive thing that you need to put into your racing helmet before you start. Whereabouts you're going to pit, where you're going to come in. Should I overfuel? Should I underfuel? You know, because they haven't got the absolute beauty of an engineer. They've only got crew chief telling them what to do basically in their ear, unless they've got someone out in the foreground telling them how to go about it. But Fitzy doesn't really care about that at the moment. He's just racing hard here. Whoa, and he's just touched up Matthews and punted him around too. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to call it as a punterino, but that was contact there. And I think that could be a little bit of some nefarious activity. Let's have a look here and see exactly what happened. This is Matthews here in the background. He did get touched. Look at that. You saw the inside of the car, and there goes Craig Matthews. Unfortunately for him, at the worst place, you've got to go up a hill here to get back onto the circuit. Hasn't lost too much time there. He's lost a couple of positions as Matthews, though. Unfortunately, Shelton has got past him there too. You can see as well. That was to May too, and he's unfortunately just got out of the game and back into the pit lane. He's absolutely pitted off, so to speak, there, Pete, and he's back into the pits and licking his wounds.
Yeah, just as we jumped off board there from Fitz, you could see we were talking about it before about the car behaviour of Fitz, because the car does look generally really good. Unfortunately, it is on the corner exits. We're seeing him putting it on the slide, and as we're on board there just before we jumped off, you could see a heap of opposite lock getting applied as he was leaving a Southern Loop, and you can see there a little bit of opposite lock. He's really struggling to get the throttle down, and again, still getting the wheel spin in third gear as they head through Siberia. This is a car that he's been seeing plenty of so far this weekend, and he's going to dispatch him quite easily. That is Cook Maitland that he will get by, and that now puts him up into 5th position. So with the top 4 yet to pit, he's in a very good position at the moment to jump quite a few cars and maybe get himself up inside that top 3, depending how well he can go here and how long the pit stops are, depending on fuel usage and how much they want to put on inside those top 3 cars. As here is Lachlan Grant. He's now in the lane for his first stop. And again, back to Fitz. This is now going to play into the cards a little bit of that undercut, but we now need to figure out, he came into the lane very early compared to the rest of these guys. I reckon we hadn't even reached the 10-minute mark yet. We're now at 18 minutes in the race, so he's got a fair bit of extra wear on those tires. So how early is he going to come in for the next one? Is he going to try and go for another undercut, and will he become vulnerable towards the latter stages of the race?
We'll find out, because he's just come down the front straightaway, and there was the effective race leader in Sam Cullen, who just got out in front of him. So there is a good 1.5 seconds, and look at that Tokyo Drift style out the other side. Oh my goodness me, that is just car control to the nth degree, but that's not helpful for that carcass, as you said earlier there, Pete. He's dead set losing time and time on these laps. He goes around with the carcass trying to survive everything, and look at the throttle tracing. If he could just change his throttle pedal a little bit, he could find that slip angle, just that fraction that he needs, without oversteering the car too much and overcooking those tyres. Just that nth degree right on the exit is where he's struggling, and he's already lost another 1/2 second at least to Sam Cullen, who's come out on some fresh boots there. So very good point. Very, very challenging for this man to think about it in the long run, but nothing to think about for Logan Howard. He's just trying to get past his teammate in front of him of the Oven. And the Oven here at the moment is a little bit down on power. He's been running for about 3 or 4 goes here in terms of cooked meats in the Oven, and he's just lost it completely. And around the outside goes Logan Howard. He'll take that place. Thank you very much. As easy as taking candy from a baby in the Hex Energy car. And unfortunately for the Oven, he has lost it, and Patterson now is closing up on him. So it's getting a little bit spicy now. There you can see him. They're all 3 of them, in fact. They're all in the same cars. They're all the same team. They're probably all in the same chat, in fact, and going for it. Benny Mead's in the pit, so he's sliding down the order at this stage as well. But the Oven is coming right back at Logan Howard. So the team 3-way here coming to a gutser could be, nonetheless, one of the worst places to be on the circuit. It could be the best. Who knows? But when you've got 3 Hex Energy cars line astern, all for 7th, 8th, and 6th, it is going to be a little bit of gamesmanship. Can they just push each other along and keep themselves in for this one?
Yeah, luckily for them, because they're all teammates, hopefully they won't be causing each other too many dramas if one of them's going to be absolutely charging up the back of them. The pace from Patterson is looking really good, and you can see they can't mess around too much if they are going to decide not to put in any team orders, because they got Lachlan Grant right behind in 9th, and he is closing as well. He's picked up quite a bit of pace after his pit stop. He's loving the new tyres that he's got on his Mustang at the moment. You can see Howard all over the back of Cook Maitland. You want to get any closer to that Australian flag, otherwise you'll be wearing it around your shoulders. As he now heads around the hay shed, it's around Lukey Heights, and is he going to be able to line up a move down into MG? He looks to the inside. Cook Maitland's trying to defend. There's a bit of wheel contact there, and a little bit of an argy-bargy get out of the way, and he's allowed his teammate of Stove to come through, and his Stove going to be able to try and get Howard as well, because the run that he's had after that contact has been absolutely shocking, and he's going to hold position just for now, but that little bit of contact ruined the run for Cook Maitland to lose not only the 1 but 2 positions. And now a bit of bump drafting down the straight. He's pushing his teammate down the straight. Look at that. The top end speed is going to be absolutely insane between those 2 cars. You can't push him too much, or else he'll go off at turn 1.
No, he will be. That was cracking stuff. Got a bit of inside look there too. The graphics of iRacing as well, with the full detail up the inside. They haven't skimped out on that. It's full modelled, scaled, ready to go racing here for iRacing. It's fantastic to see, but that was a beautiful bump draft. Nonetheless, loved it. Absolutely sort everyone out there in the old race pace department. These guys are not mucking around. And Cook Maitland has now been passed by Patterson too, as we saw. Lachlan Grant's next car on his list to defend from, so we've got to see exactly how he can go about it too. But just looking at this at the moment, this is view from Lachlan Grant's car on board. He can just see Cook Maitland just nearly swiping the arse end there of Patterson. Full argy-bargy stuff, and I think that is a bit of payback there from them all, because they all sort of freight trained into him and just turned left, did I think that was the oven, or maybe it was Patterson, who just gave him a bit of bump draft and shove out of the way into this corner coming up out of the hay shed into Lukey Heights. And I'll tell you what, Lachlan Grant here is just playing the patience game. In fact, not too patient here at the moment. He had to go off the track there to survive any contact between himself and Cook Maitland, who's defending for his life. This is beautiful stuff. Full aggression, though, because you can't bump someone off the track and just move twice on the braking. Lachlan Grant's just giving him the old side swipe and a bit more for company on the outside. Cook Maitland's going to try and swing back in on the inside. He will, but he'll block off Lachlan Grant's run. And here comes Varga. Varga's involved in this one, too. He's going to come at him a rate of knots. In fact, he's going to get a 2-for-1 deal here around the outside onto the right-hand side of the circuit. Mika Hakkinen style there from Stephen Varga. Absolutely centered. Lovely, lovely bit of driving there. Opportunistic. And he's just given Bath to Grant and Cook Maitland on the way through. That is how you go racing. And unfortunately for Grant, Shelton's now coming through into this mix too. This is fantastic battling here. Aggression all the way up and down the field.
It is. It was it was Shelton trying to go for, sorry, not Shelton. It was Grant trying to go for the move, and that initially kicked it all off. He's now run wide going through turn 3. That's going to allow Shelton to come on through, and now it's going to be Cook Maitland who has to try and defend from Shelton, but he was trying to defend from Grant. That allowed Varga to get involved when they made contact, and it all stemmed from a bad run through Hayshed for Cook Maitland. He nearly went off going through there, ruined his run through Lukey Heights. Grant tried to take advantage. They made the contact, and now the battling is still continuing. It is going to go down to the absolute wire between these lot, and it's Shelton. He's still trying to get by Cook Maitland here. Maitland using all the track. So far, he's one of the only drivers I'm seeing using that curb to that extreme. And you're going to see there how it runs him that little bit wide going through Lukey Heights, and now he has to go defensive for Shelton. But not only just Shelton, it's Grant who's trying to get his way through as well, but just hanging back a little bit and trying to see if he can't pick his way through. But it looks like he's actually stuck behind Cook Maitland still.
Yeah, he's still stuck behind it. Well, in fact, he just got past him. So thank goodness sorry, that was, you were talking about Lachlan Grant there. Sorry, Pete. But he hasn't got past him. And that is the run that you need there for Lachlan Grant. Look at the aggression. Look at the closing speed now. Which way is Cook Maitland going to go? He won't go anywhere but the straight line advantage. He goes, and the full-on Lachlan Grant up the inside. Hopefully, yes, Maitland has waved the white flag and let Lachlan Grant go through. So he can now charge onto the back of Ryan Shelton as well. 6/10 up the road. Didn't lose too much time there overall, but beautiful, beautiful stuff there, and aggression from Cook Maitland. Defended as much as he could, as fair and hard as he could, but just couldn't stick with it. So that was a beautiful exchange there from those three drivers. They came out unshaken, unstirred, Martini style, and just absolutely sung to the high heavens in the racing gods department. It's all happening up and down the field. You can see this battle here. Look at Lachlan Grant versus Shelton. Shelton had a mare out of that corner, which invited Lachlan Grant into it, and his eyes lit up like dinner plates. Got on the loud pedal too early and overshot the mark there, and just gave up all that gap as well. So now Townend as well in the background versus Tomei, sorry, and Tomei is still come out the other side. Just, it is all happening. Look at these guys go racing. This is incredible stuff. It is just beautiful, beautiful stuff from all these boys. I love seeing how they go about it. It's hard, it's fair, it's bumping and grinding, but no one really gets to it. And I'll tell you what, someone has had an absolute mare in the background here. If these boys don't overtake each other into this corner, we'll crack onto it, because Liam Brooks has had an absolute mare himself. We'll quickly dive to that. He crashed off the circuit here for Jim's Racing. This guy's been in the wars all night here tonight. We found him in the consolation race as well, just losing it, and he's just locked the brakes up. See you later, alligator. Into the runoff period, and out the other side he goes. Thanks, SDK. Giving me absolutely nothing in the old turns of carnage department, but I think this man has done himself a mischief for his... Don't tell me it's going to be the same thing. Please. For the love of Pete, it is going to be the same thing. No, it's not. Wade Georgeson has absolutely looped it. Thanks, Wado. Giving us something to think about and actually to talk about there in the replay department. Back to the live racing here, ladies and gentlemen. Pete, take it away.
Yeah, it's still Townend trying to get his way ahead of Tomei here. He's holding the gap quite nicely, but it looks like Tomei's much better than what Townend is in all the wrong places for himself, because he is able to do things. As I reckon someone's had a spin in front. Great. It could have been Lachlan Grant. It was a blue and orange car, and it was a Mustang with a bit of smoke. So I reckon he's had a bit of a rear ender moment and gone for a bit of a spin. We'll take a look here. He's going through turn 3. Ooh, looks fine. The line looks absolutely fine. He's hit the clamps on the brakes, and there goes the rear end, and doesn't actually go for a spin. The smoke was just from everything being locked up. He used every little bit of skill that he had, maybe a bit of notes from the big bangers, and has gone on to continue without too much time lost, but still, that's probably going to hurt the tyres. Maybe put a little bit of a flat spot on as Patterson gets it all sideways, and that's going to ruin his run. Lucky for him, though, it's only between the final two corners, which means there's not too much of a run, and he can try and defend from Varga, but this man is on an absolute charge. He's up 19 positions. Let's soon make that 20. He looks to the inside at turn 1, the fastest corner on the circuit, and he will make that down the inside, and that is him now up into P6. As ahead, it looks like that may have been Stove just slightly dipping a wheel into the grass, and he now finds himself under 5 from Howard as Varga continues his charge.
He's on an absolute charge here, and we're approaching that sort of mark where you think it says 40 minutes, but it could mean that we're only on the last 2 or 3 laps of the race. If they complete the laps earlier than what the timer tower does, it goes white flag. So how far up can Varga get? He's on the charge here. He's got those 2 cars in front of him who are absolutely locking horns in the 2 teammates in Howard and Stove. They don't care about it. No, they think it is literally the last 2 laps of the race, I would say here, or presuming. Look at the side drafting action and a bit of wagging there under brakes too there from Howard. He was absolutely dancing there. He's got Paul Keating coming at him at a rate of knots here back in the old mid-90s department, and he's just struggling here while Varga looks like he's in cruise control motors, just going full into the inside, uses that double apex, fires it out the other side, uses the inside curbage there to get himself pulled around up into Lukey Heights, into the dipper we go, and he's just climbing all over the back of these two. This could be P4 net here for Varga. He's right up the clacker. This is great racing. Let's see how he goes about it. No evidence of just massive oversteer, just a dance on the throttle there, using the slip angle into the final turn we go. Can he nose it in and just get that beautiful ultimate run out the other side? He does. He opens up the steering angle, and he's got a lovely run here on Howard. Logan's got nothing to go about except go to the right and hope that Varga is not brave enough to stick it up the inside into turn 1. This is going to be aggressive here from Varga. They nearly bump wheels and trade paint. They're still trying to fight it 2x2 into turn 1. This is cracking racing again. Varga's on the slide, catches it. He's going to stick it up the inside again into turn 2. Now it's going to be all over for Howard, surely. This could be an ultimate guess on who gets the better traction on exit. They're both slip sliding their way, 4-wheel drifting, and out the other side comes Varga, but for how long? Because this is Logan Howard's opportunity to make an overtake again for that lost position, but he's too far away. Varga's gone defensive. Has he made it into the corner here on the brake limitations? He just does, but it could be on again. No, there was Howard nearly trying to swap the nose off his own car, but he gets the job done to Stephen Varga. Out the other side, lovely, and he's now on the charge to get P4, and this is incredible. Oh, there is a big mistake there. That was a lap traffic car, I'm pretty sure, is it not? No, yeah, it is, in fact. Thank goodness for me, that gets out of the way. Lovely jubbly there, but that was Hutchins, I'm pretty sure it is, who's out of the race. Varga gets around him, no nonsense, but the oven did get held up by that, and Varga now is just a little bit miffed by that off-track excursion by the car in front of him. He's just got to get himself back into it to take P4.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And that was a mistake ahead that we saw as well. Varga goes through, and he's still trying to chase down Stove. But we saw before that, well, if we are about to go into the white flag, and as I say that, there is the white flag. So we're on to the last lap. We were trying to work out before how the strategy was going to work out for Fitz. And look at that. He's got 2.3 seconds. I was keeping an eye on it before. It did go down to under a second, so I reckon Marshall may have made a small error there under the pressure of trying to chase down to get that second position. But the strategy has been absolutely masterclass from Fitz, and he is going to probably take home at this P2. If he keeps it on the black stuff, is he able to keep it on the tarmac? He should take home that second position after pitting so early, because he boxed from about P5, P6, I reckon it was. Is in the background. Who's that that's going on? Is that, sorry, that's Howard that's going for a spin. He was battling with the likes of Patterson, I reckon it was. And that could have been a little bit of teammate love, you reckon?
I reckon. Let's have a look at the replay.
Oh, he's just lost it.
He's lost it himself, and then he's absolutely tapped it. So, unfortunately there, that was disaster for the both of them. They both take each other out, basically, out of any contention for that on the final lap of the race too. Geez, you'd hate to be those two in the comms box afterwards in the Discord, whatever they talk on, because that was disaster. They've lost, it's 10th place here now. Finally, but oh geez, not the place to be. Varga though is really close. This is the final lap of the race. He's within 3/10, but we're gonna have to go to this man if he doesn't get this overtake done. It is Sam Cullen. He's taken this one by an absolute masterclass. He's led the consolation. He's led this one, and that means he's going to come and take the checkered flag for the final event tonight by 5.5 seconds. That is absolute domination here over Blake Fitz, who did do us a strategical masterclass to get himself into second. Third place for Kobe, blinking his way through the field here. Stove survives the onslaught from Stephen Varga in P4. P5 goes to Stephen Varga, with Patterson coming in 6th place, and his teammate there, Logan Howard, all the way down in 10th after them coming together. Shelton does get through in 7th place. Grant, the Big Bangers champion, gets 8th place. A top 10 for him in iRacing. We'll be very, very happy with that. Tomei gets 9th, and rounding out that top 10 is the final one of the Hex Energy cars in Logan Howard. After the last lap off-track excursion, somehow finds himself back in the top 10 with the erection. And Town End rounding out the top 12 there, Pete.
Yeah, it was a fantastic end. Very well done to Cullen. He played his cards right, fit with the strategy masterclass to get himself up into that second position. Outside the top 10, it was Rogers, Townend, Andrews, Smith, Brooks. We still got Clark coming over the line, and he was very closely followed by Matthews, and then we've got a few cars behind of Hanson, Hutchins, and Cumming, all rounding out the top of the 20, well, coming just outside of the 21, and Sam Cullen very much so doing his victory burnouts. He was fastest in qualifying. He made his way through the field to get himself decently in position. He was the victor of the 3-lapper sprint that we saw, and now takes victory in the feature.
He does, and did it with style there too, as he flick spins it around and goes for it. As everyone's crossed the line, there's no iRacing disqualifications coming his way, so he has definitely won that one, and well done to him. But we've got to give a driver of the day out here, Pete. I'm going to let you give you the vote, and I will put it up on the screen.
Well, this is going to be a tough one, but I think you just can't go by the pace that Cullen has shown here tonight. There's so many drivers up and down the field that we probably could have given it to, but I reckon Cullen was the driver on form this race weekend. He was the one who was able to carve his way through the field when needed. He had the pace when needed, and then when it came to the feature, he stormed to victory. He
did indeed, and did it with style there as well. These are the results, ladies and gentlemen, for the feature race. Coming your way very shortly, Sam Cullen took it by a country mile, 5.5 seconds over Blake Fitz, with the strategical genius himself pitting early, and managed to put himself in P2 after all that and survived Kobe Marshall's onslaught. 7 seconds down the road from the winner was Kobe in 3rd place. Devon Stove will be there as well in 4th, with Varga in Stephen in 5th. Patterson, Shelton, Grant, Tomei, and Logan Howard get through to the top 10, with Rogers, Townend, Andrews, Smith, Brooks in the top 15, and Clark Matthews, and Georgeson getting themselves in there. If this would flick over, that would be lovely. If it possibly does. Yep, it will. And then we've got Jansen, Hutchins, Cumming, Mead, Cook, Maitland after that beautiful, beautiful onslaught, but decided to call it quits there in the end. 2 laps to go, and he was the final finisher of the night, with Ward, Connor, and Summerall not finishing the race and just calling it quits for the evening there, Pete. That was a barnstormer at event. Give it a rating out of 10 for me, son.
Oh, I keep giving out 10s, but that's just how good the racing is in all of these series. We've seen bust-ups galore. We have seen great racing, 3 wide racing into turn 1. You don't see that very often, with all of them coming out cleanly as well. And I'm always a fan of a strategic race, and we saw strategy go a very long way in tonight's race.
We did, and it worked an absolute beauty. That was fantastic stuff, and loved every moment of it. I'm going to give it about a 8.9 out of 10 for that one. That was beautiful. But there can only be one winner, ladies and gentlemen, and that man was Sam Cullen. He took it by storm. He took it overall, and he absolutely loved every single moment of it. And that is the man who takes it for tonight. This is the penultimate round, by the way. Next week is the final round of the season and the series for this year in 2025. So stick around for that on Sensational TV next Sunday night. It will be absolutely a barnstormer there. But we are going to be back once again on Wednesday. No, we'll be back on Tuesday, in fact. No, we won't. We won't be back on Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday for the Wednesday Cup in Sensational TV Esports for their penultimate round of the Championship Series. So stick around for that too in the meantime. But it's all over for us here tonight. It's getting late. It's been a long day in the commentary box, and I've loved every moment of it with you by my side, Peter. Thank you very much for being with me.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it. But for now, it's a big thank you to everyone out there in the chat. Good to see you. We'll give a couple of readouts. We won't be doing the post-race interviews as well. Sorry, my Discord input has gone up the creek. Not sure why. Windows updates just not letting me do 5 inputs at once for some reason. So I had to skip them. Sorry, drivers. But Kobe Marshall still hasn't got a microphone, so bugger him. He wouldn't have been in it anyway. But for now, it's Go Get 'em Varg, says Delaka73. We had Adam Button saying, would this make a good motorbike track? Well, yeah, mate, they race around here for sure. And Brendan Hackers said that your mic has gone rogue again. Not sure why there, Benny. I'm not sure. Brendan, sorry. Not sure why either, Pete. Hopefully it comes out okay on the end. Tooth of Sim Racing was involved. Gray Ward with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much to Adam Button. Woolly YouTube in there as well. And Nick and James Peterson, thanks for being around. But for us here, it's all over by the shouting. And it's goodbye, good evening, and good night here at Sensational TV. Thank you to our naming rights sponsors in Speed Nation, SDT Driver Training, ARD Importing, and Bilco Pack. You guys are legends. Thanks to all of you viewing out there in Viewerland tonight. It's been a pleasure. But Peter Clark is the man, the myth, the legend, the leg spinner himself in the commentary box with yours truly, Zach O'Reilly, and you will never be me. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a Sensational TV production, and you know what to do. Keep it flat out.
Sensational TV YouTube channel. Don't fucking miss it.